All right, thanks, guys. We went 6-1 in our premium selections yesterday on patreon.com/brockpage. It's going to put us at 12-3-1 in our last 16 daily double picks. We also swept the board in college football once again. It's the second time we've swept the board in college football. That's going to put us at 14-3-1 in our last 18 college football plays. 14-3-1 on the year in college football. Can't beat that. If you're a $1,000 bettor, you are well over $1,000 worth of profit. But anyway, you can find out all that information on patreon.com/brockpage. Now, guys, this is the last day of Major League Baseball in the regular season. And I'll tell you what, on a personal note, looking back on this season, it was obviously a great one, especially for Patreon patrons. But coming into this baseball season, we were looking at close to 40 games under 500 on the Patreon site. And it wasn't looking great. It was looking like, we might have to shut this thing down. If I keep, not producing winners and, we're approaching 40 games under 500, what's the point? We're not giving out good information. Subscriptions, memberships are down. And it was really a tough period of time. And then 2019 Major League Baseball started. And this was a great year. This was a year that I would have never, if you would have told me that we were going to win game, it was tough to lose games in baseball season this year on Patreon. So it was a very special year. Hate to see this regular season end, although postseason's coming up. And we're going to set records there as well. But definitely a sentimental one, as this baseball season, 2019 Major League Baseball regular season, we set records. We got the job done, and hate to see it leave, but congratulations to each and every one of you on Patreon that got the job done with a bunch of wins with me on Patreon. But anyway, guys, we got to get the job done here. We have a full slate of games here. It's our last day of regular season Major League Baseball. So let's go ahead and get into it, beginning with the Reds taking on the Pirates. 3:05 Eastern first pitch in Pittsburgh. Now the Reds are -120, total 8.5. Saw a 10-cent fade of Cincinnati in the early wagering. The Reds open $1.30 down the 120, totals 8.5. 53% are leaning Pittsburgh, and at the moment the Pirates are +110 on the money line. Cincy plus $1.15, laying the run and a half. We have Tyler Mahle for the Reds, Trevor Williams for the Pirates. Now, if you like Mahle in this matchup here, he's kind of been like the weak link in this Reds starting rotation. Believe it or not, Cincinnati's got an excellent rotation, for the exception of Mahle. He's just 2-12 on the year, 5.34 ERA. Cincinnati's 26th in road scoring, 27th in road hits. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh on the other side, winners in 4 out of their last 5 at PNC Park. They're also 5th in home hits. Now, total-wise, the Pirates are 6-3 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Pirates plus $1.10 and the over 8.5 in that game. Next matchup, Dodgers, Giants, 3:05 San Francisco. The Dodgers are $1.70, total 8.5. We have Rich Hill for the Dodgers, Derek Rodriguez for the Giants. Rodriguez comes into this game with a 6-10 record, 5.27 ERA. Meanwhile, Rich Hill on the other side for the Dodgers, 4-1 on the year, 2.59 ERA, 1.13 WHIP. The Dodgers have the best record in the National League. They're also 3-0 in their last 3 Rich Hill starts. Now, the Giants on the other side, they covered just 28 out of 80 at home this year. They're also 27th in scoring on average per game. Now, total-wise, San Fran, 8-4 to the under in their last dozen, taking on a National League opponent. Give me the Dodgers minus $1.70 and the under 8.5 in that game. Next matchup, Yankees, Rangers, 3:05 Texas. The Yankees are $1.70, total 11. Saw a 20-cent fade of New York and movement upward on the total. The Yankees open $1.90, down the 170. Total open 10.5, up to 11. 70% are leaning New York, 78% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Rangers are +160 on the money line. We have Chad Green for the Yankees, Lance Lynn for the Rangers. Lynn is 15-11 with a 3.76 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. He's also struck out 236 batters. Meanwhile, on the other side, Chad Green for the Yankees, 4-4 on the year, 4.24 ERA, Texas is 44-36 at Globe Life Park. They're 4th in home scoring, 7th in home hits. When it comes to the Yankees on the other side, losers in 4 out of their last 5 on the road. They're also 25th in runs allowed on the road and 25th in hits allowed in that same category. Now, total-wise, the Rangers 7-0 to the over in their last 7. Give me the Rangers plus 1.5 in the over 11 runs in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Sunday's Major League Baseball action. Happy Sunday. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. Now, before we go ahead and proceed, I just got to remind you real quick once again to at least consider checking out my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We do daily plays on that site. We have a bunch of different memberships and packages, and they begin at just $1.99 per month. Now, check this out. We went 6-1 in our last 7 plays yesterday across the board. It's going to put us at 12-3-1 in our last 16 daily double package plays, and we are 14-3-1 on the college football season. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. There's plenty of free content there as well, including my current record. Link for that site is in the description section below. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on. All starts Eastern Standard Time, and on deck we've got the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Red Sox, 305 Fenway Park. The Red Sox are 240, total 10.5. Saw a 20-cent move toward Boston, moving downward on the total. The Red Sox open 220, up to 240. Total open 11, down to 10.5. We have Chandler Shepard for the O's, Ed Rodriguez for the Red Sox. Eduardo's 19-6 on the year with a 3.80 ERA, 205 strikeouts. Chandler Shepard on the other side for Baltimore comes into this game with a 7.71 ERA. Now, Boston's 4th in scoring, 1st in hits. That's in Major League Baseball, guys. So although they kind of crumbled at the end there, these guys can still pound the ball. So once again, Boston is 4th in scoring on average per game in Major League Baseball. They're 1st in hits. They're 1st in hits on average in the league. Now, on the other side, Baltimore, winners in just 29 out of 80 when traveling this year. They also ranked dead last in runs allowed on average per game. Now, total-wise, Boston 6-1 to the over in their last 7. Give me the Red Sox minus 1.5 in the over 10.5. Next game, Marlins, Phillies, 305 Philadelphia. The Phillies are 170, total 9.5. We saw a nickel fade of Philadelphia, movement upward on the total. The Phillies open $1.75 down to 170. Total open 9, up to 9.5. We have Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins, Blake Parker for the Phils. It is going to be a bullpen day for the Phillies. Meanwhile, on the other side, Alcantara comes into this game, believe it or not, with a pretty respectable 3.95 ERA. He's also struck out 146 batters. The Marlins are 44-36 against the spread away from home, 7th in hits allowed when traveling. The Phils on the other side, losers in 6 out of their last 8. They've also covered just 33 out of 80 ball games at Citizens Bank Park. Now, total-wise, Miami 49-31 to the under on the road. Give me the Marlins plus 1.5 and the under 9.5. Next game, Cleveland taking on the Nationals, and that is going to be a 3:05 Eastern first pitch in the nation's capital. Cleveland's $1.60, total and 9. We have Mike Clevinger for the Indians, Joe Ross for the Nats. Joe Ross is 3-4 on the year, 5.90 ERA, 1.24 WHIP. Meanwhile, Clevinger on the other side, he's been outstanding. 13-3 on the year, 2.39 ERA, 1.03 WHIP. The Nats are 16th in runs allowed at home, 20th in hits allowed in that same category. Cleveland on the other side, 45-35 against the spread away from home. They're also 11-3 straight up in their last 14 Mike Clevinger starts. Now, total-wise, Cleveland 6-1 to the over in their last 7. Give me the Indians minus 160 and the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Astros, Angels, 307 Los Angeles. The Stros are minus 360, totals 8.5. 62% are leaning Astros, 87% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Angels are plus 325 on the money line. Houston minus 245, laying the 1.5. We have Garrett Cole for the Stros, Dylan Peters for the Angels. Peters comes into this game with a 4.72 ERA, 1.49 WHIP. Garrett Cole on the other side for Houston, 19-5 on the year, 2.52 ERA, 0.89 WHIP. He's also struck out an amazing 316 batters on the year. Now, Houston has the best record in Major League Baseball. They're first in striking batters out on average per game. Now, LA, on the other side, losers in 13 out of their last 18. They're also 23rd in runs allowed, 22nd in walks allowed. When it comes to the total, Los Angeles is 4-1 to the under in their last 5. Give me the Angels. Just kidding. Give me the Astros, -1.5. And the under 8 and a hook. Next game, Rays, Blue Jays, 307 Toronto. The Rays are 215, total at 9. Saw movement toward Tampa Bay, movement downward on the total. The Rays open $1.85 up to 215, total open 9.5 down to 9 flat. We have Blake Snell for the Rays, Clay Buchholz for the Blue Jays. Buchholz is 1-5 with a 7.00 ERA. Meanwhile, Blake Snell on the other side, 143 strikeouts on the year. Tampa Bay is 4th in runs allowed on the road on average per game, 3rd in striking batters out on the road as well. Meanwhile, Toronto on the other side, 29th in hits on average per game, which is second to last in Major League Baseball. They're also 28th in walks allowed, winners in just 34 out of 80 at home. Give me the Tampa Bay Rays, -1.5, and the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Oakland, Seattle, 310 Seattle. Oakland, -170, total at 9. Nickel fade of the Athletics and movement upward on the total. Oakland open 175 down to 170. Total open 8.5 up to 9. 51% are leaning A's. 52% shaded toward the over. Right now, Seattle's +160 on the money line. Oakland -$1.15, laying the run and a half. We have Tanner Roark for the A's. Justin Dunn for the Mariners. Now, if you like Tanner Roark in this game, he comes into this matchup with a 4.32 ERA and a 1.42 WHIP. Oakland is 26th in striking batters out on average per game. They've also lost 2 out of their last 3 ball games where Tanner Roark made the start. Now, Seattle's 6th in offensive walks and 10th in walks allowed. Now, when it comes to the total, Seattle 47-33 to the over at home. Give me the Mariners +1.5 and the over 9 runs in that game. Next matchup, Braves, Mets, 310 Flushing, Queens. That'll be the last time we say that this year, so get used to it. 3:10 Eastern first pitch in Flushing, Queens. Now, we did have a good old-fashioned flip of the lines in this one. Right now, the Mets are -110 with a total at 8, but they opened up as the dog. They opened plus $1.10, now minus $1.10. Total's 8. 51% are leaning New York, 65% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Braves are -101 on the money line. The Mets plus $1.80, laying the run and a half. We have Mike Soroka for the Braves and Noah Syndergaard for the Mets. Syndergaard's 10-8 with 193 strikeouts, looking to surpass 200 Ks on the year. Now, the Mets have won 4 out of their last 5. They're also very good at Citi Field in Flushing, Queens. And they're 47-33 at home this year. 9th in hits on average per game. 4th in striking batters out at home. Now, on the other side for Atlanta, Soroka's kind of on a pitch limit here today. They're looking to have him start, I believe, Game 3 of the playoff series. But anyway, we're looking at like a 70 to 75 pitch count here. The Braves also pretty much putting it in cruise control, dropping 4 out of their last 5. Now, total-wise, Atlanta 43-37 to the over at home. I'm going to lean New York Mets -$1.10 and the over 8 runs in that game. Next matchup, Padres, Diamondbacks, 310 Arizona. The D-backs are $1.35, total 9.5. Saw a 15-cent fade of Arizona and movement upward on the total. D-backs open $1.50, down to 135. Total open 9, up to 9.5. 81% are leaning Diamondbacks, 63% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Padres are +125 on the money line. D-backs plus $1.50, laying a run and a half. We have Michael Baez for the Padres, Taijuan Walker for the D-backs. If you like the Padres in this matchup here, Michael Baez comes into this game with a 3.25 ERA. The Padres are also 2nd in walks allowed on the road, 4th in striking batters out on the road. When it comes to the total, Arizona's 4-2 to the over in their last 6. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me the Padres plus $1.25 and the over 9.5 in that game. Next matchup, Brewers, Rockies, 310 Colorado. The Brewers are $1.65, total 13.5. Saw a nickel move toward Milwaukee, movement upward on the total. The Brewers open $1.60 up to 165. Total open 12.5 up to 13.5. 75% are leaning Brewers. And at the moment, the Rockies are plus 155 on the money line. Milwaukee minus $1.20, laying the 1.5. We have Adrian Hauser for the Brewers, Jeff Hoffman for the Rockies. Hoffman's just 2-6 with a 6.78 ERA and a 1.63 WHIP. Adrian Hauser on the other side for Milwaukee, 3.86 ERA, 1.27 WHIP, 112 strikeouts. The Rockies have covered just 32 out of 80 at Coors Field this year. They're also dead last in runs allowed at home, last in hits allowed at home. Now the Brewers on the other side, second in offensive walks, 16-4 straight up in their last 20. When it comes to the total, Colorado's 80% to the under in their last 5 at home. Give me the Brewers, minus 165, and the under 13.5 in that game. Next matchup, Tigers, White Sox, 310 guaranteed rate field in Chicago. The White Sox are $1.40, total at 10. Saw a nickel move toward Chicago and movement upward on the total. The White Sox open $1.35 up to 140. Total open 9.5 up to 10. 82% are leaning White Sox. 85% shaded toward the over. Right now the Tigers are plus 130 on the money line. Chicago plus $1.30 on the run line. We have Spencer Turnbull for the Tigers. Ross Detweiler for the White Sox. Detweiler's 3-5 with a 6.85 ERA. Spencer Turnbull on the other side for the Tigers comes into this game with 139 strikeouts. The White Sox have dropped 3 out of their last 4 ball games where Ross Detweiler made the start. The White Sox are also 24th in scoring on average per game and 26th in offensive strikeouts. Now the Tigers on the other side, believe it or not, 42-37 against the spread away from home. They're also 13th in striking batters out on the road. Now total-wise, the Tigers 4-1 to the under in their last 5. They're also 6-0 to the under in their last 6 when traveling. Give me the Tigers plus 1.5 and the under 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Cubs, Cardinals, 315 St. Louis. The Cards are minus 220, total 8.5. 72% are leaning St. Louis, 60% shaded toward the over. Right now the Cubs are plus 260 on the money line. The Cards are minus 135 on the run line. We have Derek Holland for the Cubs, Jack Flaherty for the Cards. The Cubs are 7th in runs allowed on average per game, 8th in offensive walks. The Cards on the other side, losers in 4 out of their last 5. They're also just 1-2 in their last 3 Jack Flaherty starts. Now total-wise, here's something to think about. St. Louis is 14-2 to the under in their last 16 Jack Flaherty starts. I'm going to lean Cubs plus 1.5 and the under 8.5 in that game. And we're going to slide to our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Twins, Royals, 315, Kansas City. The Twins are 200, total 11. 10-cent move toward Minnesota, movement upward on the total. The Twins open $1.90 up to minus 200. Total open 10.5 up to 11. 63% are leaning Twins, 75% shaded toward the under. Right now, Kansas City's plus $1.80 on the money line. Minnesota minus 120, laying the 1.5. We have Martin Perez for the Twins, Georgie Lopez for the Royals. Lopez is just 4-9 on the year with a 6.35 ERA and a 1.50 WHIP. Martin Perez on the other side for Minnesota, 10-7 on the year, 130 strikeouts. Minnesota's 2nd in road scoring, 1st in road hits. The Royals on the other side, losers in 8 out of their last 10. They've also won just 30 out of 80 ball games at home. Now when it comes to the total, Kansas City is 5-1 to the under in their last 6 at Kauffman Stadium, taking on the Twins. Give me Minnesota minus 1.5 and the under 11 runs in that game. All right, let's go ahead and slide into our quick pick recap brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage. We got the Twins minus 1.5 under 11. Cubs plus 1.5 under 8.5. San Diego plus $1.25 over 9.5. Seattle plus 1.5 over 9 runs. Milwaukee minus 165 under 13.5. Tigers plus 1.5 under 10 runs. Mets minus 110 over 8 runs. Rays minus 1.5 over 9 runs. Houston minus 1.5 under 8.5. Texas plus 1.5 over 11 runs. Miami plus 1.5 under 9.5. Dodgers minus 170 under 8.5. Cleveland minus 160 over 9 runs. Pittsburgh plus $1.10 over 8.5. And last but certainly not least, we have Boston minus 1.5 and the over 10.5 runs in that game. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. We went 6-1 in our 7 premium plays yesterday on that website. It's going to put us at 12-3-1 in our last 16 daily double picks. We're also 14-3-1 on the college football season. So let me try to say that again properly. We're 14-3-1 in our 18 college football picks on the season. Incredible record there. There's also plenty of free content there as well, including my current record. Patreon.com/BrockPage. Link for that site is in the description section below. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for watching me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Sunday to you. Best of luck to you. And don't forget to check me out on Patreon.com/BrockPage.